Hey guys, you're on the Design Startup Show, the DSS. That's what I would like to call it in future. I mean, because it's short and it's fast to say, right? And it's easy to recognize. And today, I have this question a lot. This question where people ask me why I should give up solo freelancing, or why I kind of transit from freelancing to becoming an entrepreneur. What's wrong with freelancing, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but I always believe, after I've transited, I've always believed that one should give up freelancing eventually. It's great to start, but there are many circumstances, many situations that affected my life. And that led me to find a better way to run my business rather than stay on as a freelancer. So being a freelancer, I held on for 10 years, and life was definitely better than being an employee, because being a freelancer, your schedule is still flexible. So you can take on and choose your clients. You can still select them. You can have your own processes. You can work in the morning and not at night, or not in the morning and yet work at night. So it's still up to you, right? Because if you are an employee, then you have to follow the rules of a big company, isn't it? That said, as freelancer, I mean, I could choose when to work and not to work, but I still have to work no matter what. Meaning, if let's say today I don't, maybe I feel sick, I just can't move, or I'm injured, I can't move, I just can't work, right? And if I don't do that, I don't have income. Even if I have income, probably from insurance, from anything that, or any excess, I'm unable to build my brand. So what's the point, right? I'm just ending up giving myself a full-time job, right? Just led by many bosses who are my clients. So that, to me, is not good work for me, right? Most of the time, I'll be doing what I can to help my clients and figure out design solutions for them. But I'm not really doing that for myself. I'm just bringing in an income. And then I have to start all over again with a new client, right? So that was how I worked when I was a freelancer. So in those days, I had no issues with my income. In those days, I was single. In those days, I had no kids and no mortgages, no employees. I could charge my clients up to 10,000 each project per month, and all for me to take home. I could even take up to 3 months of travel holiday without even, working, because my previous projects are already paying for that. So all I have to do is to tell my clients that, hey, I'll be away this month, and then they won't give me anything to do for that month or for that 3 months. So that also worked as a freelancer, and that was fine. But that was because I was lucky that my clients kept coming back to me, without me having to keep selling them or upselling them. I would die if I would have to do any sales-related activities in those days. So thank goodness I didn't have to do that those days. But it was not good, because I shouldn't be relying on referrals too, right? Those days, my clients were my advocates. They helped me sell my service. They refer new clients to me. And they were also busy themselves. So they didn't have any time to look for anyone else who can charge lesser, or anyone else who they thought would be better. Hence, I was their only designer at that point in time. So definitely very grateful, and I served all of them to the best of my abilities. I felt very indispensable then. Then one day, something happened to my dad. So a 10 cm malignant tumor was found in my dad's liver. Okay, so in order for him to carry on living longer than a few months, at the time, he had to remove it. But his liver had to go with it, which means he needed a new set of functioning liver to replace the old one, which is the cancerous or tumor one. So he had to undergo a liver transplant to have a good chance of survival. So naturally, I volunteered to be the donor, and luckily my liver was a good match. It was a huge operation, and anyone who went through this will have to take at least a few months of rest to recover properly. I was lucky not to have suffered from any infection, but for many months, I wasn't in the right physical and mental frame to take on client work like before. So as I've mentioned previously, no client work, no income. I mean, if I had previous income, I could probably buffer myself, but income would dry out, right? Eventually. So there won't be any current income because I have no work. My bank account shrunk overnight, but I had to live with it. I'm not in the best condition, right, to work. So once my surgery wound started healing, I bounced back quite quickly, and thank goodness I had friends who sent clients my way, and then my income returned back to normal. So that was fine after that, right? And then I thought, okay, back to my comfort zone. But 2 years after this operation, my dad had a relapse, and then cancer cells were suddenly found every part of his body, including his lungs and his back, and obviously, you know the story, right? So he started to lose control of his body. So because I had to help him, I had to be his caregiver. It slowed down my freelance work, and similar to previous years, when I was recovering from the transplant, I start to see the same problem with my business. I just couldn't be at two places at one time, and there's so much I can do within the time I have. So I had to reject most client work at that time as well, because I couldn't commit, right, and honor my word. So I couldn't hire as well because my bank account is just going down. I had no capital. I couldn't even manage anyone with such little time that I have, because most of the time is to care for my dad. And worse still, because I did not build a network at that time, and I did not have that entrepreneurial mindset of building a network, of helping people. It was just more of bringing income by being a freelancer. So with no network, I had no one to rely on to partner, pass my work over temporarily, and then take it back again, that kind of thing. But no such thing, because I didn't have a proper group of friends who can do similar work as myself. And as time passed, my dad passed away, and that was when I decided to do something better with my business, right? And then I started to ramp up my fees, right? I thought ramping up my fees will help with my income. I thought if I charge one client for one project, let's say $10,000, I only needed to work on just a few, maybe 5 other clients to be comfortable for that year. And then in that case, I don't have to find more clients already, right? So I did that for a few years. Things went as planned. And yes, I was earning enough for myself for each year. But in 2013, my first baby was born. I had a house, a new place, which means mortgage debt is in. I had to care for my baby. Suddenly, my business had to go down again because I couldn't take care of my baby. I couldn't take care of my customers at the same time, right? There's no proper care for both sides. It just couldn't work well. And then I was $500,000 in debt overnight because I didn't have enough clients to cover my debts, my bills, and I had a huge mortgage loan with a new place, with a new home. So that was the darkest moment in my life. So it was hard because even if I have many customers coming to me, I have no ability to take care of all of them. So the more doesn't mean better for freelancers eventually, right? But if you don't have more, you can't kind of increase your income, which also reduces your freedom. But if you have more clients, you also reduce your freedom because you have too much work to do, even if you are increasing your income. So there's no way where you can be more than satisfied being a freelancer in that sense. I've tried in many ways. So, well, the blessing in disguise was that I was so free with nothing to do, even if my debt was increasing, right? I had so much debt piling and piling and piling, but I also had more time to self-reflect and learn more about myself, learn more about my mistakes and what I really wanted in my life. So that was the good part of that, right? So I love my work, but I didn't want to work when I don't want to, such as taking care of my baby. I want to be a good parent. I want to be a good daughter, right? I want to be a good designer to serve my clients. So I want to be, good in every way. But I was struggling to be at two places at one time. So that was when I knew it was time for a change, a big change indeed. So my goal then was to build a business that can run on its own. I vowed to myself that I need to remove myself from the day-to-day, from the design work, from the customer service, from the project management, and that was the only way that I can create a business that supports my lifestyle. So what this means is my business should be able to be built on to run on its own so that I can also make that good enough income from the profits. I can also do creative work whenever I want for myself, to be an awesome mom for my kids, to travel around the world, to do anything as and when I choose to. I need to have that option. So call it entrepreneurship. Ideally, I can remove myself from it as and when I like. So if I, in the event I can't work at all, or if my family members need me to be there due to health reasons, my kid is unwell, all I want is that freedom to choose where to put my attention to while my income still comes in at the same time. So even if there's no work, there's still income. So my business has to be there, and the purpose is to free me up to do the things I enjoy doing rather than, be a business that holds me back or ties me down from the lifestyle I want to have. So being a freelancer as a starting point has been great, and it should be great if you are at that stage. And freelancing can help bring in enough income. But I would say after doing more than 10 years, for me, it's not the best way to allow me to get to where I want to go in life. So if you are going through this similar situation, I find that there is a better way to doing more of what you love without having to live dollar to dollar and trading time for money. Many things in a freelancing business do not have to be done by you. So what you can do is to list down everything that you are doing, and then see who you can hire. You can hire the right people, you can get the right automation, you can get the right tech tools and apps to do all these things on your list. So this should be done, right at the beginning to free up your time. And I did this way too late. I'm doing this like 10 years later than I should. Right from the start, you could have listed this down. If you feel that you're not ready to hire, no worries. You can just keep going to the point where you are ready, right? Where you have enough work to fill up the time. So although your business will not turn from a freelance model to a self-running machine overnight, I feel that doing this is the first step. And for me, what took up most of my day's time was the client's design work. So my first step, when I first wanted to transit, was to find designers who are willing to spend the time to help me with that work. Okay, once I've done that, I have spare time. And with that spare time, I do marketing and sales to bring in more income by promoting my business more than I ever had before. So all these are the other times when, these are free times, right? It's not really exactly free to just sit around, but I can choose. So I can segment my day with some time to do nothing. I can segment my time to play with my kids, and I segment some other time to do marketing and sales. So there will be other free times where I can do my own projects, and that can satisfy my creative juices, my creative designer in me, right? Which is what you may have as a graphic designer, as a web designer, as somebody who is creative. You want to still do that. So there's no need for you to pass off creative work if you don't wish to. All right? You just have to look for bits of the whole process to hands off. So let's say if you really love certain parts of the creative work, you can still keep it, but you are giving more time for yourself by letting off certain work like technical graphic work, or things that there are many others who can also do that don't need you to be there to handle. And then slowly just, list them down and pass them off bit by bit. So take your time with that. It took me 5 years, so it may take you 1 year, it may take you a few months. It's just based on your own circumstances and how quick you want to let them go, and just go with it when you're ready. So yeah, so these are my thoughts and on why you should give up solo freelancing. So if you are if you are flesh and blood just like me, there will be times when you're sick, there'll be times when you can't just deal with the work. I feel that solo freelancing is not sustainable in the long run, and it's good to have a team. It's good to leverage, I would say, people or automation or tools to partner up and work with you instead. So yeah, good to get ready with that. Right, thank you, and that's all for today. Bye. So I hope this is helpful, and I will talk to you soon.